Thank you for joining us today for our third seminar in the Journey to Science series at Onondaga Community College. This seminar is sponsored by the Bridges to Baccalaureate grant, and we have invited different guests to share their way into STEM and STEM-related fields. During the seminar, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A button. You can enter your questions at any point, and we'll be sure to address them at the end of the seminar. Today, we're going to hear from Kiondra Horton, a 2019 OCC graduate, but I'm actually going to hand the stage over to someone who knows Kiondra much better than I do and worked with her and supported her during her time at OCC. Lara, the coordinator of OCC's LSAMP program.
Am I live?
Yes.
Hi. Actually, it's C-Step Student Navigator. But it is a pleasure and an honor to introduce Kiki Horton. As Lissy said, she is a 2019 graduate of OCC and also a graduate of our C-Step program. And C-Step, if you don't know, is the Collegiate Science Technology Entry Program. And I first met Kiki at the Learning Center in 2018 when she was taking Chemistry 151, which is always a challenging course for our pre-nursing students. And she was such a hard worker. I was impressed by her drive to achieve and succeed no matter what challenges she faced. I was also impressed by her positive attitude toward life. And I have to say, just being around Kiki just makes you feel better. She's just one of those people that has that aura. And I kept in contact with her while she was at OCC and until I began to work in the C-Step office. I had the joy of watching her walk across the stage in December 2019 before the world fell apart, and also celebrating afterwards at the reception and meeting her family, especially her beautiful children, who had that privilege of seeing her graduate and earn that degree that she so deeply deserved. I know that her warm and caring and confident manner is going to make her an outstanding nurse. She is going to be the kind of nurse that can connect with her patients and make such a difference in their lives. Welcome, Kiki.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you, Liz. It's an honor to be here today. You almost made me cry, Lara. That was very special. But I'd like to start off with welcoming everyone here today. Again, my name is Kiki. I am very happy to be here, and I'll just start off with my journey to OCC. Began back in 2002. Straight out of high school, I was the only child raised in a single parent home. So college kind of was a given. You didn't have a choice. And being raised in my single parent home, I always had a strive to make my mom happy and to make her proud. So anything that I can do to make her proud of me, I was down for. I got to OCC in 2002, and it was kind of like high school all over again. So you saw your same friends, they were all in the same classes. So I didn't really take it as seriously as I should have. But I enrolled into the nursing program. I was doing my prerequisites, and so I took chemistry, received my first F ever, and that hurt, but I kept going and persevered on. And in 2003, I attempted chemistry again and failed again. So I figured nursing is not my thing. I'm not gonna pull this off. I can't even fathom ions and negatives and positives. It was just too much. So I changed my major to criminal justice at the time and began my career path as a forensic investigator. We watched enough of those shows on TV, right? Like we say, oh, I can do that, so I thought that I can do that as well. But I flunked out after a couple semesters at OCC. I wasn't taking it very seriously, so I just gave up. After those 2 failed attempts of chemistry, I just figured I'll just step away. I was unsuccessful at passing the chem, so I changed my major again. I got married in 2007, my first marriage in 2007. That was life. I had a son. It didn't go according to plan. The summer of 2010, I found myself separated, living in a car with my son for a week because my pride level was too high to go back home to my mom. I didn't want to just go back home to mom and say I failed again at something. So I slept in the parking lot of the Salvation Army. And at that time, I said, this is something that I have to do. I have to make my life better. I have to do something better. But at the time, I knew I wanted to be better, but I wasn't focused enough. So I started getting into drugs and alcohol, and that led me down a whole nother path. School wasn't important. Things in life wasn't that important to me anymore. So I let drugs and alcohol take over. I was undiagnosed up until that point. It wasn't until 2012 I got diagnosed with bipolar depression. That was a diagnosis of myself that I had to really take in and really know what was going on with myself. I met a wonderful man at the grocery store in 2011. And long story short, we got married, and our marriage began in 2015, my second marriage. And I just want to touch base on how my life was before I got married. I was not the best person. I was going out every weekend. I was spending time away from my child, where I felt that I was just better off living the fast life. So I lived the fast life to the fast life almost took my life. 2013, I believe, 2012, I was found by my child, and I was unresponsive. I gave up on life, and I just didn't want to continue anymore. So I woke up in the hospital after being in the coma, and I had tubes and everything in my body, and I didn't know where I was, but I knew when I woke up that I was given a second chance because God saw the best in me, because He knew that I was meant to be here for my son who needed a mom. So I made a promise not only to myself, but to my child, to God, that you get me out of this hospital, which I was there for a month and a half. I spent Thanksgiving in the hospital, and I almost spent Christmas in the hospital. But I said, if you give me another chance, God, I will turn my life around, and I will seek you and be a better me. And I was able to walk out of that hospital with no complications. My kidneys were fine. I didn't need dialysis. I was able to walk out of there a brand new person. And that was enough for me to shake me up and say, this is the life that you're supposed to live, the positivity. I realized that the life that I began to live was quite different than my previous life, because all of my friends that I thought I had, they all had died of overdoses as well. And to this day, I am one of many in my circle that is still here to wake up every day and live this beautiful life. Back to my husband, He was the one who encouraged me to get help, to be more vigilant in my mental health, because I believe now that mental health is so important. And in this time of COVID, mental health is even more important to get in order. If you are struggling, you're battling, you feel like you have nowhere to go, please get help, because it will change your life. And it wasn't until I became a stay-at-home mom so I can focus on my mental health when I realized that I'm now having another baby and I'm not doing anything productive. I need to do something about this. I need to change. So once I returned to OCC in 2018, nursing was not my first choice. I came back to OCC as just general studies to get my life together. And my battle with depression, I became friends with my nurse at St. Joe's, Nurse Karen Simmons, who had really encouraged me to live my life according to how I wanted and not what other people expected me to. She encouraged me to re-enroll in school, try that out, see if I can get off the couch, because I was stuck. I did not have the direction. I wanted to be better, like I said before. So she encouraged me to apply to OCC. So I applied to OCC, and like I said, it wasn't my first choice to come back as a nurse, but I applied and I got back in, and I took a couple of general education courses. I thought surgical tech would be good because I still wanted medical field, but with my past of not passing chemistry, I wasn't giving nursing a try at all. So I tried doing surgical tech, and it wasn't until I was in AMP2 where I met my good friend who was an LPN, and she encouraged me to give it a try. I'm doing all this work for surgical tech, and give nursing a try. So I gave nursing a try because I had that nurse in my pocket, my psychiatry nurse, Nurse Karen, in my pocket, who gave me she showed me how nursing truly is. It's about compassion. It's about caring. And I know that I'm a compassionate individual, and I know that I care about everyone and their well-being. So I figured, why not? I did my courses at OCC. I had another child at the time when I came back to OCC. So now I'm on baby number 3 and I didn't have any childcare. So that was a stump for me to where I couldn't come back, but I got on a waiting list for the Children's Learning Center up at OCC. And those wonderful ladies, Jean and Michelle, in the Children's Learning Center are wonderful. I got in, my daughter was able to attend, and I was able to come back to school because of that situation, because of the Children's Learning Center being there for me and having my back and being there to push me and to say, we got you, we got your baby, you just go handle yourself. And that felt good. So as I finished my first semester back in 2018, I took all of my classes, my biology, my AMP, my chemistry, and as Laura stated before, she was in my corner as one of my tutors at the Learning Center and helped me understand the true dynamic of how chemistry works. So I ended my 2018 semester with a GPA of 3.2. I received my letter from OCC stating that I made the provost list, sorry. And it was at that moment getting that acknowledgement of my distinctive merit to where it really, really drilled into me that I got this in the bag. It was hard as a child, as a teenager, straight out of high school, to come to college and really make good grades. But when you lived a life and were given a second chance in life to be better than your previous life, you do what you have to do and you kick butt. And that's what I did. I came to OCC and I succeeded. There was so many different resources at OCC that is able to help you and assist you. Like Laura said, in the Learning Center, there's Ted in the Learning Center. I remember Ted, he's such a great guy. Your instructors as well is always there to assist you in your journey. One of my favorite professors is Professor Wells in the biology department of anatomy and physiology. She wants you to succeed. She wants you to be better. It may seem hard, but it's hard for a reason. Because if life was served to you on a platter and said it's easy, we wouldn't really do it. We wouldn't have that drive to say, I can do this. So with Professor Wells in my corner and my support system at home, my family, my husband, my sister, my best friends, my support system that's been there from the very beginning, who've seen me at my lowest, and now they're able to see me at my highest peak. And I've only got much higher places to go. This is a support system that you need to succeed. I was listening to Patrice's seminar last month, and she asked, what was her why? What was her why? And my why was being able to see firsthand how nurses work with patients in and out of the hospital setting. I've seen nurses deal with me in the hospital setting, and I've had nurses deal with me in the outpatient setting. And I've never ran across a nurse that I felt she didn't want to be there. As a nurse, you want to help, you want to give knowledge, and you want to eventually see that person walk out of your facility a better person. And I feel that my why is just that. I want to be able to experience life with patients who are struggling, who are battling their most heavy demons. And I want to be there in their corner to educate them and encourage them to, you can do this. Look at where I've come from. I had nothing going for myself. And now, with the grace of God, I have everything going for myself. I have a wonderful family, wonderful children, a wonderful career that I'm headed in. And the career that I'm headed in it's a very challenging time right now. And people may look at me like, you are crazy to want to be a nurse during COVID. Aren't you afraid you're going to get sick? Yeah, I might. But at the same time, who else am I helping? It's all about helping and extending that hand for someone to grab and someone to say, thank you. You helped me. You encouraged me. And I want to be able to do that for the most needy, the most wanting, the ones who most need that help the most. I also want to encourage those that feel that life may not be going according to your plan. I want to be your encouragement and tell you that there is another side. The other side, it may be greener. They say that life is greener on the other side. The grass is greener on the other side, but only if you water it, right? So you water that green grass and you watch it grow, and you be so amazed on what you can do when you put your best foot in front of the other. It's one day at a time, one moment at a time. It's going on 8 years, me being clean, and I live each day knowing that I've made the best decision in life to be better. I also would like to say your story may not be my story, but all of us have something that we made it through that has formed us to be better than before. So take that first step into learning more about yourself. Take that first step to being great. It's going to be hard, but you can do it. I am also right now, I'm up at St. Joe's right now, and I'm my worst critic. That's hard. That is really hard, but it's worth it in the long run. The St. Joe's faculty are there to encourage us through our most trying times, and I'm going to make it, and so are you. You will make it. And so I just want to say again, be encouraged. Life may not always be easy, but you can make it better. You can definitely make it better. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'll open this up for any questions.
Kiki, thank you so very much for sharing with us. What an inspiring story, all the things you've overcome and the perseverance that you've shown. Someone would like to know, what advice would you give to students who think that they cannot achieve their goals?
Oh man, first you would have to take a look at yourself and know what you are capable of doing. It may seem, that goal may seem so unattainable at the time, but if you want it bad enough, you will strive and do your best. That goal seems so far away, but there's small steps to get to that goal. So you set your goal, your small goal first, and you say, I'm going to pass this class with a B. And you strive to go forward and you pass that class. Maybe you might get an A, but as long as you try and you take those steps, one step in front of the other, and you will always, always, always feel good about yourself. Whether you achieve those goals, you come short, but you can always try again. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't succeed the first time, but I tried again. And my second try at life was so successful.
That's great advice for our students. What are you excited about next? What do you have lined up?
What do I have lined up? Getting through this accelerated course at St. Joe's. When I applied at St. Joe's, I knew I couldn't do the weekday program every day. So I applied for the evening weekend course. And it's an accelerated course. So it's done in 18 months. So it moves very, very fast. So I would like to, I'm coming up on my first semester being over, have my first final coming up on the 21st. I would like to focus on that final before I move to my next chapter. But I do see myself being the best nurse that I know to be. And whether that's in a hospital setting or working with mental health patients, that's another thing that I think that I can do and be an inspiration for those who need to be inspired.
And what an inspiration you are. Our next question is, someone says, I'm a support professional for students interested in the health fields. What advice would you have for me to make sure my students are feeling supported and that I'm here for them?
I would say open your arms and let them feel as welcomed as possible. My Professor Wells see me cry, she see me laugh, she see me at my lowest, but what I appreciate in her was that I never felt like I was just like a numbered student. She knew my story, she knew where I wanted to be, and as long as she was there to assist me on my way, that's the biggest thing. being able to having your students feel like you're more than just an instructor. There's someone that they can confide in. And when they say, I couldn't get this done, it's when they come to you and say, I'm having troubles, it's more or less likely to be able to express how you feel openly and not feel like you're making excuses.
So just acknowledging that they're a person,
Yes.
and a student second, and to
Yes.
Support them as much as possible in both of those. That does sound like a wonderfully supportive environment. Something else that you mentioned a few times, and then I know you've had, are the groups of people that support you. And this may be, you may just have found those people by accident, but how do you build that, right? How do you build your team? How do you build that group of support behind you?
Oh my goodness. So my friend who's an LPN that I spoke of earlier, I got brave and I walked up to her in class after class and I said, hi, my name's Kiki. You want to study? And she looked like, I guess so, not knowing that that was going to be who I needed in my corner to go forward. Now we both are students at St. Joe's and we're both going through this journey together. So that's a good support system that I love. I also made a new friend probably 2017, I believe. I was very introverted. She was very extroverted at the time. My husband said, you got to meet this girl. You guys would be great. Lo and behold, we're the best of friends now. She's another one of my biggest supporters. She always tells me I'm a rock star. Whether I feel like I'm a lowest rock, I'm always going to be a rock star in her eyes. And that's always made me feel good. Knowing the support system that I've had in my recovery is another support system that I want to explain to people, that if you are in recovery, build you an army that will hold you accountable for your actions and not let the small things get under and brush under the rug. Be held accountable for your actions, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, and learn from those actions and learn from those mistakes, because the people that are in your corner, they want nothing less than to see you succeed and be better. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Kiki. That was the end of our questions. And I just wanted to thank you for your bravery, both that you've shown in your life, and you've had so many chances and opportunities to really show what you're made of, and then to share that, right? This alone is so brave, to come on here and share this with our students, with others watching. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us for being so brave and being here today. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much. And go Lasers.
Now, thank you again. And again, thank you for sharing that journey with us. Now, before everyone leaves, for those watching live, there is a link to a survey in the announcements. It's just a survey with 7 quick questions to help us make these seminars what you want them to be. For anyone watching the recording on YouTube, the link is in the description below the video. Take a second and give us your feedback, please. We want to keep these seminars going and make improvements based on your suggestions. Come join us again on October 18th for our next speaker, again Wednesday, 12:30, Dr. Harry Taylor. He is an immunology researcher at SUNY Upstate, and his research focuses on viral infections such as AIDS and COVID. Thank you for being with us today. Bye-bye.